What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Jacob in Wisconsin. We got Tim in Green Bay here to talk some Packers. As, man, it was a wild day across the NFL. More players getting cut, more players entering the trade block, I guess you could say, or hitting the trade block as they're looking to change unis and potentially go other places. Gents, how we doing tonight, man?
Very happy to be here, man. Lying season is officially upon us, and we're also seeing some, reality set in with a lot of moves. So I'm psyched to talk some ball tonight.
Yeah, we got a lot to cover. Jacob, how was your day, dude? You doing all right? I like that hat, by the way, man. It's clean.
Throwback.
This is one of my favorites. Yeah, I'm doing well, man. I got to crunch in a couple podcasts today, which hasn't been the case lately. So I got some information as well that hopefully we can talk about. And there's a lot of a lot of NFL type news. Maybe we'll cover that, I'm sure, as we get into this episode here.
Yes, sir. Let's start with Patreon tonight, okay? Because we kind of neglected it the last few days with all the different news headlines dropping here. So let's start here with Johnny in the old Patreon group. And again, if you guys want to join the Patreon group, just go to patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. We got multiple chats in there for you guys to engage with each other and also ask questions for the show. We do giveaways throughout the year as well, not just the season, but the off season as well. So scan the QR code in the upper right will send you to the same place. Appreciate everybody over there. Johnny says, if players are released before free agency, the players become free right away. Can they be signed before the 12th of March? That is correct. Yeah, if someone is completely cut out right the way I understand it, they can be signed immediately. Now, obviously, that contract won't kick in until the new league year. Unless for some reason a team would want to go, hey, we'll just give you money this year. I've never heard of that happening. So that is how that rolls there. Josh Martin says, so with DK requesting a trade and would cost us $18 million, who would you rather have for $18 million a year, DK or Davante Adams? For me, it's DK. He's younger and can stretch the field. So I want to ask your all's take on it, and then I've got some stats that I can hit on real quick and just kind of compare and contrast between the two. But how would you guys answer that question there? If they were both $18 million a year is what it sounds like, right? If you could get them both.
I'm taking Tay.
Taking Tay? Okay. Yeah. Jacob, how about you, man?
That's a really tough question, to be honest.
Oh, it's not that tough. Stop it.
You're
going to look me in my eye and tell me Tay Adams comes back to Green Bay or it's DK Metcalf making his Packer debut on a 1-year rental contract. Stop. Come on.
I agree.
You want Tay back here. You know you do.
I do want Tay back here. I just don't.
I'm putting the damn pressure on Jacob.
I don't want to pay either of them $18 million. But if I'm going to have to stretch for 18, I would look for more potential and more upside. But I'll be honest, I do side more towards Tay. For some reason, I just think that Dak is a paper tiger. Or I'm sorry, DK is a paper tiger.
Gotcha. All right, well, let's start with yards per reception. All right, we've already talked about yards. DK Metcalf finished the year at 992. Actually, let's just hit it real quick. 992 for DK. Davante Adams finished with 1,063. So he actually finished with more yards than DK. That kind of caught me by surprise a little bit. DK, in terms of touchdowns, only had 5 touchdowns. Davante Adams finished the year with 8 touchdowns. So advantage Tay again. Go ahead, Jacob. You got something?
No, I was just going to say that's more, Clayton.
Yes, sir. That is more. You're
8
correct.
Is greater than 5. Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. Yards per reception. Now, here's where it gets a little bit different here. All right. DK Metcalf, 15 yards per reception, as Josh said here in the Patreon group. I feel like he could stretch the field a little bit more. So DK averaged 15 yards per reception. Davante Adams only 12.5. Somewhat close, but advantage DK there, right? The catch percentage was what really kind of stood out to me. Davante Adams' catch percentage was 60.3% last year. So that means the balls thrown to him, he caught 60.3% of those balls thrown to him, right? DK caught 61.1%. So you think,
well, you know what? Neither of those are
65%.
65%. That's what that is correct, Tim. But I'll tell you who did exceed 65%. It's amazing. I'm in a multitude of chats. I don't know how the hell I ended up there, but I'm in a bunch of Twitter chats. Like, people have added me to groups, and I just kind of sit back and observe most of the time. And the same people who are saying get rid of Jaden Reed are the same ones just clamoring to get DK. Jaden Reed, they're done with. They're just, the drops are just.
What the hell is done with Jaden Reed?
Jaden Reed's catch rate, guys, Mr. Drop last year, 73.3%. I'm still trying to figure out where people are coming up with this Jaden Reed hate. It's not like, okay, the season's over, it's dwindled down. They're still standing on that hill, and it blows my mind because you're on one side, you're saying go get DK, go get Tay, right? And out of the other side of your mouth, you're saying Jaden Reed's a bust, trade him. They were literally saying trade Jaden Reed for DK Metcalf. Like, what are we talking
about? Jaden Reed has played 2 seasons of football.
Right.
Like, relax.
Here's the thing. Jaden Reed finished with 857 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns on only 75 targets. DK Metcalf finished with 992 yards receiving on 108 targets, and only 5 touchdowns. So, again, I'm still kind of holding pat that I'd like DK for the right price. If you look at it like a 1-year rental, here is one thing you will get with DK, I think, over Davante Adams, is you're going to get a DK that's playing for that next contract. Davante Adams everyone is expecting him to take a step back this year. And listen, a step back might just be 900 yards receiving, 800 yards receiving.
A step back for Tay is probably average,
But if DK goes out there and really ups his game, I can see where some people would say, you know what, for a year, even if we don't re-sign him, if we give up a 3rd or a 4th round pick for him, we got him for a year, and he's just playing outside of his mind trying to get that next contract, there is some motivation there. I can kind of understand that. Now, when in terms of separation, right, the average target separation here, okay, 2.6 for DK. Jaden Reed was 4, by the way. Davante Adams, where are you at again, sir? Davante Adams. I need to get this more organized here. Davante Adams, 3.2. So when we say DK can stretch the field, that's all well and good. He's got the speed to do it. How come Davante Adams has had more separation? Because he's a better route runner. You understand what I'm saying? Definitely. So I think it's pretty close. The only difference between the two is the market value for Davante is showing little under 14 million, and for DK it's showing 27 million. Like,
DK is a little younger, right?
Right.
And but here's probably the bigger target, but like you said, certainly not the more skilled route runner that Davante is, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I did a poll question on X. I haven't even checked it. Let me check it real quick. And here's the question I asked. I said, Green Bay Packers fans, would you be willing to pay $25 million per year for DK Metcalf if he were a free agent? 54.9% said yes. 45.1% said no. So a good chunk now, albeit a minority of the fan base, but still it's pretty darn close to 50-50. 50% of the fan base, 45.1% of the fan base is saying no, I wouldn't pay him $25 million. So now I'm kind of looking at it like it's being reported by a couple of different people that there is one team that's willing to give up a 3rd round pick for DK Metcalf. Now, the only team that's really been linked to him has been us through the Seahawks beat guy, right? That, obviously with Locked On. And what if the plan is give up a 3rd round pick, Jacob, just to have DK for 1 year? That might be the realistic plan. And then, of course, if you trade for him and then he signs somewhere else, I think you get a comp pick, don't you? Because he was on your roster the year before. So
what if he holds out and doesn't want to play on the deal?
See, that's the thing too. A team is not going to trade for him unless he agrees to play for the current deal or the deal that they've agreed to restructure with. So that's the other aspect of this. And the fact that we haven't heard anything leak out that the Packers are, were trying to come up with a contract for DK, to me, that doesn't kind of seem like how Goody does business anyway. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that, like you said, giving up a 3rd round pick to take a shot for a year with DK, it's like I'd rather give Goody the 3rd round pick in his holster, have him, make a pick, and we'll see how that rookie pans out after 1 year, rather than losing that draft capital to, like you talked about last night. We know what we're getting with DK Metcalf, and that's not a knock on his game at all. It's just, I just don't, I don't see the value in giving up draft capital for an aging guy at the end of his contract.
Yeah, Drew D says you can only get comp picks for players that play out their contract and walk. He would still be playing his contract out, Drew. Are you saying that if a player is traded to a new team, they play that contract out and then they walk, you don't get the comp pick? Specify for us as quick as you can, because I know you understand a lot of this stuff. You dive into it a lot deeper than I know I do most of the time. So, Jacob, you got anything else to add there? That conversation, that vein we were in just now.
I mean, I'd see a lot of chatter and just right there with J. Cole, just a lot of people saying just draft Higgins, whatever it is, and get it over with. I do think that I would rather just build through the draft as possible. I just don't like paying this much money for guys that, for whatever reason, I mean, you can't argue that DK has natural freak ability, that he's got all the intangibles. You can't argue that Tay has a storied past and can be a precision route runner and all this stuff. But, a 3 to 4 year contract where we're paying the guys basically nothing, and to have some new blood and to have a whole resurgence on the offense is something that I would value a lot more than trying to make these kind of shoot from the hip type stuff that I feel like the fan base is really putting a lot of pressure on Goody to just do something. And I don't want us to do something. I want us to do the right thing. Right. And I will say that
just remember Jimmy Graham and Sammy Watkins.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. The podcast I was listening to today, the PFF podcast, they were talking about winners and losers from the draft or from the combine. And Jaden Higgins was one of their top winners, if not the top winner. And they said that he basically solidified himself as a will get drafted in the 2nd round. And they also premised it saying that the only way they could see him sneaking into the 1st round, and the first time they'd see it, would be 23 with the Packers. And I thought, Tim.
Meet with him. And let's assume that Goody's board looks like ours. Jaden Higgins is in the 52 spot, ahead of him that the Packers met with. Wide receiver wise, let's just go off of that. Matthew Golden, he's in the 37 spot for us. All right. And then ahead of him, is there any other wide receivers? I don't think they are. There's no other wide receivers the Packers met with ahead of him, to the best of my knowledge. They did meet with Colston Loveland, who's the 15th best. He's a tight end, though. So, yeah, if he's the best player available, the best wide receiver available when they pick at 23, then who knows, man? That might be – who was it that said that, Jacob, now?
That was Trevor Sikkema, I believe, from the PFF podcast.
Yeah, he's with the 33rd team now. Is that right?
No, he runs the PFF podcast now.
Trevor Sikkema. Okay, so he replaced those.
He took over Sam and yeah.
Got it. Okay, cool. Drew D says correct. Trades and cuts don't give comp picks, so you wouldn't get a comp pick if you just let them walk after trading for them. So they've got to play out their entire contract with you in order to get a comp pick, according to Drew here. So thank you for that info, Drew. Appreciate you, buddy. What's this? Say Colston Loveland 3 times and Jake will appear. I might have to go watch Candyman tonight, man. Chris N says, I don't think DK will play without a new deal. He said that here in the questions for the show. Yeah, I think it would be silly to do that. I do, man. I think that would be – now, how bad does he want out of Seattle, right? That's the big thing, too. The fact that they formally requested a trade, that says a lot. So, let's see here. Josh Martin says, Jaire and a 4th for Trey Hendrickson. I'm sure you guys have heard Trey Hendrickson was granted permission to seek a trade today. I'm going to see if I can nab this section here real quick, and I'll kind of give you all my take on it. And I believe that's all the Patreon questions there, right? I'll just read off my tweet here. We'll keep this up because we got another section we got to get to as well. So, Jaire and a 4th for Trey Hendrickson. All right. Trey Hendrickson, I pulled his his stats here, his PFF grades. Adam Schefter said the Bengals have taken the rare step of granting all-pro tight end or all-pro defensive end Trey Hendrickson permission to seek a trade. It's been an honor and privilege to represent Cincinnati over the last 4 years, said Hendrickson, the NFL sack leader. I love this city and organization. Went on to, show appreciation and everything. So obviously he led the league in sacks last year. Trey Hendrickson did. So the tweet I put out was the NFL leader in sacks, Trey Hendrickson, is officially on the trade block. He's 30 years old and in the last year of his contract, okay? His PFF grades the last 4 years, starting last year and going backwards. 88.1, 82.3, 82.9, 73.4. So here's another edge defender that's just – he's been dominant. There's no two ways about it. My question is, would you rather have him at 30 years old over Khalil Mack? Because Khalil Mack, you can go get in free agency if indeed he makes it to the free agent market here in less than 4 days now. So what do you guys think about that? I'll go ahead and drop this down, actually, and we'll get into something else here in a second. So what do y'all think about Trey Hendrickson, though, man?
I love it personally. That trade I would not be upset about, to be honest.
All right. Tim, what about you, man? How do you feel about Trey Hendrickson? And I think it all comes down to the comp, obviously, the pick, right? The compensation that you would be willing to give up. But
he's 30.
Mm-hmm.
He's 30. And I think everyone is just under the impression that Ja's gone already. And I'm still in that 50-50, 60-40 camp that maybe Jaire plays another year or two in Green Bay. So that being said, I'm not opposed to it because, the numbers are still kind of there as far as the grades and the stats. So you're still improving your team. I'm still kind of on the fence. I'd like to see my boy play a couple more years in Green Bay, but I'm probably in the minority on that one.
Yeah, with Ja is interesting because it's gotten really, really quiet. And the best I can gather, the market isn't there for him. There's not a lot of teams lining up going, hey, we want to trade for this guy. And I think the Packers are holding pat like, hey, we'd like to have him back for the right price. And Ja's camp, I think, is kind of sitting there like, well, this backfired. If he did kind of try to force the Packers' hands and say, hey, I want out. Now, if he wants to really hold their feet to the fire and accelerate the situation, all he has to do is has his agency reach out to an Ian Rappaport or one of the insiders and say, hey, let them know we formally requested a trade. Put that out there, right? Well, why hasn't he done that? To me, that tells me there's at least a chance in Ja's eyes that he sees maybe it is best I stay in Green Bay. I think that's got to be a possibility. Or else, you know what I'm saying, Jacob? Why else would he not just go ahead and, all right, let's just burn it to the ground, let them know we want to trade? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is a little weird. I don't know, man. I know Tim doesn't think Jaire's gone. I'm more to the 80-20 that he is. I'm not fully slamming the door shut or anything. I don't know, man. It just feels like the team and him are just so in opposite directions as to where they want to be with the whole vibe, the way they want to end their career, with the style of play, with him being able to be on the field. It just seems like too many fights, too much bickering for it to be like, all right, now we're cool now. But again, money changes everything, so I don't know if I don't know. So if Jaire thinks he starts looking around the league, if his agents being like, hey man, there's not a lot of greener pastures out there, maybe you should try to smooth this over a little bit. I could see that being a more likely scenario than what's going on now. But that's I wish it was great. I wish we could slap our hands and snap the fingers and just be like, all right, Jai's back to Ja. Everything's great. Let's move forward. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, and here's the thing. You said 80-20. It sounds like Jason Wilde is over the 90% mark. Like he's like, yeah, I don't see him coming back. And anytime that Tauscher pushes back, Wilde is pretty adamant, like he feels like that bridge has already been burned. If anyone, I'm sure some of our listeners watch that show every day like I do, that seems really, really, it's like, okay, what has he heard behind the scenes, for it to get to the point where he feels so confident that Ja won't return? And It's sick. It seems like every year there's something in the locker room where you remember the year before Ja made the comment, I'm gonna stop talking to y'all because it gets me in trouble every time. And then it's like, okay, well, you don't have to talk to him. You don't have to. You don't have to make that comment, right? And then last year, exit interviews. Of course, this offseason here, it was I don't have anything nice to say, and he storms out. It's like, why do we keep doing this? If there's any inkling that you want to return in Green Bay, why do we keep saying this stuff? And it's not like you're saying it off the record. You're saying it in a locker room full of reporters where everybody can hear it. You want it out there. But the baffling part to me is why is his agent not just coming out and saying, hey, we formally requested a trade? I mean, unless I missed it, has anybody else seen that come out? I haven't seen that reported that Ja requested a trade like DK did. If that makes sense.
No, we haven't seen that. And it's probably because his representation knows that the market's not super high on him, you know?
Yeah. Love and Football in the chat says bring Hendrickson to Green Bay, so he's on board with Hendrickson for sure. Daryl says Chase Young is 26 only, would be more than willing to play for Halfley. Did he tell somebody that?
Yeah, I don't know. And I'm pretty sure. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm leaning towards Chase Young staying in New Orleans. That's where I'm at. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I think the Saints are going to pay him.
I mean, they probably should. Yeah, I would.
Chase Young, let's look at his grades here. So he came in the league in 2020 and was awesome, 87.1. In 2021, he only played 477 snaps, and he dropped to a 75.1. In 2022, he dropped all the way down to 114 snaps with a 78.4. Last year, he at least stayed healthy. He played for Washington. Looked like Washington. I'm sorry, in 2023, San Francisco and Washington. I guess so this is his fourth. This is his third team already. New Orleans.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 74.7 he dipped down to, and then last year he goes to New Orleans. His like I said, his third team, 66.4. And keep in mind that's his overall grade. His coverage grade was 90. We know he's an edge rusher, so that blimped that up just a touch. His pass rush grade was only 66. His run defense grade was abysmal, 54.6. So I'm out on Chase Young personally, unless they're just giving him away. Unless they're
that's why I think he stays in New Orleans, because New Orleans doesn't have a lot of money to move around. So
that's what they're saying here in the chat, is that why they're saying how Saints have no money. Shavink says if Young stays in New Orleans, they're going to have to backload that with void years until 2050. So I don't know, man. I don't. Chase Young, to me, that's such a weird career trajectory, right? You come out. I mean, I remember he was talked about like as if he was the bee's knees, man. And then he came out and he had a great rookie year. And then how are you with 3 teams already and you're not even 26?
There's something there. Edge defenders are too damn valuable. And he had too much production early in his career to all of a sudden end up on 3 teams. There's got to be something there. Got to be. So I heard someone else say he takes plays off. I haven't watched the tape enough to know that.
That's Chris N actually said Chase Young gives up and down effort, in my opinion.
Yeah, there you go. I've heard a lot of people say that. Professor K. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Chase Young is Jadeveon Clowney 2.0, apparently.
I remember the Clowney hype when he came out, man. Holy cow. This dude was going to revolutionize the game. And, man, that he played for a while. He made some money. And I don't think he was a horrible football player, but the expectations were just so high on him. Professor Cake says, I feel like you guys are missing the whole point of DK. This should go good. He is literally the only guy available who can fill in Watson's role. No other wide receiver that's an offer can stretch the field. That's on offer can stretch the field. But I don't agree with that at all. Like Jaden Reed can stretch the field. You don't believe me? Look at the statistics. Like you can go to the numbers. Now he played slot a lot for us. That doesn't mean he has to play slot all the time. Like when we talked about the numbers, the yards per reception, Jaden Reed was 15.6 yards per reception. DK Metcalf was 15. Now, you guys want me to blow your mind here? When people were saying he's the only one who can stretch the field like Christian Watson, DK Metcalf averaged 15 yards per catch. Guess how many Christian Watson averaged?
20 plus, probably.
Christian Watson was 21.4 yards per reception. Yeah. So
there's
DK,
a guy.
Yeah, exactly. DK has not even sniffed what Christian Watson's done when he's on the field, in my opinion. Like when he's on the field, that dude changes the whole dynamic of the offense. This whole notion that DK is somehow this damn superstar, I just don't get it. I don't understand it. Like if he can stretch the field so well, he didn't even crack 1,000 yards last year. Like if he's such a field stretcher, how do you get 108 targets and only have 992 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns? Well, it's a quarterback play. Okay. So Geno Smith wasn't good? I'm confused here.
I'm confused too. When has DK ever had a bad quarterback throwing him the ball?
I mean, it was literally Russell Wilson, right? And then it was Geno Smith, and we know Geno Smith was in the MVP conversation there a couple years ago. So it's like, I don't think anybody's missing the point there, Professor Cakes, to be honest with you. I'm trying to be as respectful as I can, but when you say you guys just don't understand, you're missing the point. No, I think you're missing the point. DK isn't Terrell Owens. He don't get me wrong, boy, and I swear if I see another tweet with his shirt off and Packer fans go, look at this guy. It's like, I could give a damn about how ripped he is. What's he doing on the football field? That's what I need to know. And how in the heck is he getting over 100 targets, not cracking 1,000 yards, and his specialty is he's a deep threat. That's all I'm saying. And for $10 million, sign me up. A third rounder and we pay him $10 million a year? Absolutely. $15 million? Yeah, I'll do that. You're talking $27 million a year for a guy that we just named. I mean, we just read off his statistics. That's why Tay seems just as, if not more appealing to me for a year for $13-14 million, however much he's going to play for. So I don't know, man. I'm trying to piece it together with DK for the right price. I'd love to have him. I think he does make your football team better. But this whole notion that he's just going to take the top off of like he wasn't even the best receiver on his team last year. No. I keep coming back to that because here's the reason I'm getting so kind of animated about it. I read the tweets and I find myself falling into the hype too. Like, yeah, man, DK. And then I go back and watch the tape and I go back and look at the numbers. And I go, it's dude, we're talking like he's a 1,300 yard receiver and 13 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see it. So anyway, there you go, Professor Cakes. I like animated Clayton. It's fun. Thanks for putting a quarter in it there, Professor Cakes. All right, so we had another kind of question section from the Patreon group I want to hit on real quick. So Chris N, I'm going to try to read this as quickly as I can, and you guys help me with the name. What is that last name right there, fellas? Dayo
Odeyingbo.
I think he made this up, to be honest with you.
It's Odeyingbo. Yep.
All right. So he says I'm wondering why Good is interested if true. I read an article that said his pass rush percentage was lower than LVN. I know sacks aren't everything, but still in 61 games, he only had 16.5 sacks, including less productivity last season, yet having more snaps. His run defense grade in 2023 was a 49.1 and a 56.8 in 2024. PFF projects next contract to be in the range of 4 years, totaling $66 million with $39.5 million guaranteed. Almost exact initial deal we gave Zadarius Smith. Can he be as productive? I'm going to go try to pull his stats if I can. I don't even know what team he played on, so I don't know how to look it up on let me see if I can just do a player search here. What do you got?
New York Giants, I thought. But...
Was it? Okay. All right, so here we go. Actually, he's showing Indianapolis.
It's here. Colts, actually. Yep. Okay.
All right, so let's look at his numbers here real quick. Quarterback pressure percentage of 2024 was a 12.1%. He had 50 pressures, only 3 sacks. So I don't know what that 16.5 sacks threw me off there. Unless he's talking about, he's talking about over the course of his career. Got it. Okay. So 12.1% pressure percentage, 50 pressures, 3 sacks. He had 300 run defensive snaps, only 27 stops. Yeah. I don't know why in the world he would be worth that much money, to be honest with you, Chris. Yeah, so I think we're on the same board there. I'd like to know what article it was that you heard him link to the Packers. And that's the stuff, too, that, like, everybody's putting content out right now. It's, people are firing from the hip.
Ryan did cover that this morning on his podcast. I don't remember the article but he did confirm that there was some sort of murmurs that Deo, and he said basically the same thing. He looked at it and said, he's decent pass rusher. That's pretty much kind of all he is against the run. He's basically booty cheeks. So
got it. All right. And then Jake G126 in the Patreon group said it's impressive how much movement happened in the last 2 days. Trades and free agency went from a little lackluster to quite interesting pretty quick. I can't think of another year, guys, where there was this much movement right before the new league year. There's usually some cuts, maybe a trade or two. This went absolutely bonkers today, man. There we go. Appreciate it, Chris. Packers Wire wrote it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm with you, man. That seems a little, I don't know. I think it's going to be a no for me, dog, if that's the type of money he's looking to get for sure. So, all right, let's hop over social media. Anything else you guys want to add to what we've covered so far, and then we'll kind of run through the headlines here real quick.
I just saw Rap Sheet just reported that the Rams are more likely at this point to release wide receiver Cooper Kupp than they are to trade him, per Ian Rappaport.
There you go. And, of course, we talked about Cooper Kupp earlier in the offseason, in the offseason here. Let's see if we can figure out exactly where he landed. Let's just go by yards. Of course, it bonks out here. Go ahead, Tim. What would you think about Cooper Kupp? Obviously, he's more of a slot receiver. Again, when you look at the Jaden Reed and what he's done when he's went deep, I think of that catch in double coverage. I think of him running wheel routes his rookie year. Throw him out there in the Z, man. Probably going to Jacksonville is what Jake Shavink says. Cooper Kupp is probably going to Jacksonville. Tim, what do you think about Cooper Kupp, man? We hit on him a little earlier in the year. I'm going to see if I can find where he's ranking here in yardage and everything.
I could see that since Jacksonville just basically cleaned house.
Let everybody go.
Yeah.
I thought Elon was down there, man. I didn't know what was going on.
What do you do here exactly? I'm not going to say anything bad about Cooper Kupp. Dude's a monster, right? Other than the fact that he'll be 32 in June. So getting up there in age, the production I don't think has fallen off, a lot or anything. Nothing to be super concerned about. But as far as where I would see him fitting in LaFleur's offense, I'm sure he'd fit in great. But I like Bird, and I'm going to stick with that. And I can think of probably 5 to 10 other guys I'd probably rather have in Green Bay. Other than Cooper Kupp. So it's not a knock on him. I just it's a no for me.
Fun fact here too, by the way, DK Metcalf 108 targets, Cooper Kupp 100 targets, right? DK Metcalf averaged 15 yards per reception. Cooper Kupp only 10.6. Obviously, he's working out of the slot. Separation, Cooper Kupp was better. And it looks like his catch percentage was 67%. DK's catch rate was, where did you go, sir? 61%. So significantly higher catch percentage or catch rate there as well. So you bring in Cooper Kupp, throw him in the slot, right, for the right price, of course. To me, he's kind of like there with Devontae Adams. I wonder what his market value is. Jacob, are you done with Kupp? Do you think, I'm just not interested, or how do you feel about Cooper Kupp?
Nah, for the money, I'd love my little Cooper Kupp. I think it'd be great. I think that he's one of the best precision route runners that we've seen in this league in a long time. Obviously, a little bit of injury issues, but if he's like, I don't think he's gonna be, but if he's below 13, do you know where Spot Track has him possibly?
11 million is his calculated market.
Bring him in, put him on the board.
Stop it, man! He's going to
Duval. If he goes to Duval too, boy, they have precedent for overpaying receivers. There ain't no two ways about that.
Yep.
Christian Kirk said, "Thank you guys so much. I'll go out of here and get another contract real quick. Appreciate you, sir."
So did Christian Kirk got released, right? And so did Evan Engram, and they just said that Devin Duvernay is released. And
so there's a name we should talk about.
Ronald Darby as well. They are cleaning house.
We should talk about that Evan Engram name.
Kirk got traded to Houston. Yeah.
Let's just run through here, okay, the headlines. Kirk got traded to – okay, there you go. Cool. Yeah, they were talking about cutting him, and then Houston came in and said, we'll give you a 7th.
Yeah.
And then immediately somebody said, and Seattle thinks we'll give a 3rd for DK. Like, hold up a minute. Y'all were just talking like he's the second coming of Terrell Owens, and now he's not worth a third-round pick, you can't have it both ways. Like,
he was the best guy around.
The Los Angeles Chargers release edge defender Joey Bosa. So it's obviously Nick Bosa's brother. I think he's the older of the two, right? If I remember correctly, I want to say Nick's younger than Joey. I could be wrong there. But obviously he started his career off pretty strong. PFF grades 86, 88, 71, 89, 90, 85, 76, 78. Last year, he dipped all the way to a 61. Only played 503 snaps last year, 320 the year before, 203 the year before that. So the last 3 years been a little bit – 2 of the last 3 years, I should say, been a little bit injury riddled there. But Joey Bosa's on the market. There's rumors, or at least people talking, that he may go to San Francisco and play with his brother. How do you guys feel about Joey Bosa, and what does this mean for Khalil Mack? Did they cut Joey Bosa to maybe free up a little bit more room to keep Khalil Mack? You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm wondering. Do they pay Mack now that they cut Bosa? And I'm just wondering, where did that sharp decline come from? It seems like, really just from, even if you're looking at the last 2 years, has he been plagued with injury or grading out at a 61? That's crazy.
And they went from Brandon Staley as the head coach and the defensive mind, right, to Jim Harbaugh, and I don't know who he had, as his DC. So maybe it was scheme changed him. You know what I mean? Could be that, but he's still getting older though, right? I mean, my goodness.
Yep.
So, Jacob, what do you think about Joey Bosa? Any interest there at all, man?
I do have interest, but it has to be for the right price. Professor Cake said he's played 18 games in 3 years, I think. It would have to be, right there. Bosa's hurt more than Ja. Do you know what his market value would be projected at right now?
That's what I was looking at just now, and I'm not seeing a tab for market value, but let me hop over here to the free agent tab and see if he popped up.
I mean, like you looked at the beginning of that career, like Tim said, there's something. I mean, I believe that would that be 2021? He had a pretty significant injury, and it looks like the next year he probably had another reflare of that injury because he went from playing 500 to 800 to. Yeah, I guess that was a little off year too. In one of the years where he was at the 71.5, then he goes back to 800, then he's back to 500, almost 600, then back to 800, and then once he starts, basically every year that he's dipped below 500 snaps is where his worst years have been.
Mm-hmm. It looks like the chat's pretty much unified here, saying no to Bosa. There's no market value tab here, but if you were to look at Khalil, now obviously Joey been a little more hurt than Khalil, it sounds like. Khalil's 34 years old. Joey's 29 years old. So you would think that Joey, being that he's younger, right, and his average annual value was higher than Khalil Mack's, his previous average annual value, you would think he'd be higher than Khalil, and Khalil's sitting at 23.6. So if that puts Joey at 25, that's going to be a no for me, dog. Khalil is the only guy that keeps popping up that I'm like, I would overpay for him. I would overpay for him and throw him on the line for a year or two. That's just me though. Moving along, of course, we kind of covered DK. There it was. Diana Rossini was the one who put that tweet out there, said they're seeking a first and a third pick for DK Metcalf. Metcalf is also eyeing a new contract worth around $30 million per year. I know some people scoffed at me in the chat when I said $30 million a year. Where'd you hear that at? It's called math. These dudes are going to get paid if he's one of the top receivers on the market. The receiver market, you guys remember like 3 or 4 years ago, it went bonkers. When Christian Kirk signed, it was like everybody was overpaying for receivers. And I remember on the pod, that was my first year at the pod, I'm like, Bill Walsh 101, wide receivers, the last thing you put in place, and you never overpay for good, you overpay for great. And there were a lot of receivers that were not great receivers getting signed and getting overpaid. That's just kind of how we seen that. But Diana Rossini was also the one that said there was a team interested there. ML Football tweeted it out and said the Green Bay Packers are the favorites to trade for Seahawks Pro Bowl wide receiver DK Metcalf per Bovada, if I'm saying that right, official, which is a gambling site. So here's the thing. Whether you like gambling or not, they know what the hell they're talking about with odds. That doesn't mean the Packers are going to sign him. But if Diana Rossini said one team has offered a third-round pick, and then gambling sites are saying the Packers are the favorite to trade for him, decent chance decent chance that that's the team she's talking about there. I don't know why people would not. If you've got a source that says, yeah, one team offered a third for us, right? Like, or maybe it was his camp. Why not go ahead and mention that team? You know, it's an anonymous source anyway. So that makes it a little iffy there too. So, yeah, Greg Rice, a first and a third and $30 million. That's a whole lot of note. He's a note dealer in here tonight. He said, nope. Ain't doing it. I'm with you, man. Again, there's too many glaring negatives with that. You know,
Yeah.
It really is. Now, if you want to
round pick and a bag of footballs, I'm down. Let's do it.
if you want to give up a third round pick and let him play on that deal for 1 year, it's a rental for a third rounder, right? And then you turn around and let's say you do trade John, you get a third rounder in return. Okay, you get that third rounder back. And then if it's a perfect fit for DK and him and Jordan just absolutely knock it out of the park, then you extend him. I don't see DK going out there being traded and not getting a new deal. So that's just this was really interesting. I want to click on this article. I don't know if we're going to have time. Spot Track put an article out. Said with DK Metcalf on the block, a look at the trades over the past 10 years involving notable 27 to 28-year-old wide receivers, including the cost, acquired contract, and future outlook for each. You know what? Let's do it. It probably won't pull up there. Let me close this out. Let's just take a quick gander in this. Matter of fact, so we know who had the article there. I'm going to keep that up so we can give him a shout out at Spot Track. Okay. So that's who wrote this article. And I'm not going to read the entire thing. I want you guys to go give him a click and all that good stuff. Here's some of the trades I'm going to read off for you real quick. Okay. The Browns acquire Odell Beckham Jr. from the Giants. Keep this in mind too, guys. We're talking about this potential trade for DK. Think of how many times out of how many of these trades, I'm going to put it on the screen for you. Hell with it. Because it's going to be hard for you guys to keep up with me trying to explain what each of these are. Okay, so let me do this. Let me go to this article real quick and see if we can get it up here. Tell me if you guys can y'all read this okay if I zoom it in here. We're good, right?
There you go.
There you go.
Tell me, we'll take it one at a time. Did this work out for the team that was trading for the receiver? Okay. The Browns acquire Odell Beckham Jr. from the Giants. The Browns got Odell Beckham Jr. and Olivier Vernon. Sorry. The Giants got Jabril Peppers, Kevin Zeitler, a first-round pick, a third-round pick. Did that work out? Did that work out for the Browns? Yes or no?
No, nothing has ever worked out for the Browns, including that deal.
Completely agree.
Remember when we heard about they were going to win the Super Bowl? They were the Super Bowl favorites that year.
Yeah. Jacob, that work out or no?
I don't think so.
Okay, we'll move it along. That's a no. Bills acquire Stephon Diggs from the Vikings. Okay, the Bills get Diggs and a 7th-round pick. All right, the Vikings got a first rounder, a 4th rounder, a 5th rounder, a 6th rounder. Did that work out for the Bills? Did that work out for the Bills? Yes or no? I love the hesitation there. And people will say Diggs was a good wide receiver. Do you know how many times there was camera shots of him and Josh Allen arguing on the sideline? And did it get them over the hump? Yes or no?
No.
If you ask them, and this is how you know, you go back in time and go, Bills, here's what's going to happen. This is what you're giving up, and here's what's going to happen. Would you do the trade? They'll go, hell no. That one didn't work out. All right, Cardinals acquired DeAndre Hopkins from the Texans. Cardinals got Hopkins in a 4th-round pick. The Texans get David Johnson, a 2nd, and a 4th.
Yeah, Houston won that one for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, that one didn't work out. Texans acquired Brandon Cooks from the Rams. The Texans got Cooks in a 4th-round pick. The Rams got a 2nd-round pick. That one's a little more tolerable because it's really like, okay, you traded back 2 rounds and you picked up a starting receiver, right? But again, it wasn't like that was the thing that put them, got them over the hump. You know what I mean? You notice how it's all consistently bad teams too, like teams that just you never hear about them playing in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Like over the hump. That's what you mean, right? Is like competing for a Super Bowl, like at least being a playoff team or wild card team, kind of in the mix. Yeah.
Jake Shavink said, "Are we treating success as winning a Super Bowl? What's the measurement for working out? Would you do the trade knowing what you know now, Jake? That's the criteria here. Would you do that trade again? I haven't seen one that I would do again if I were one of those GMs. Like, yeah, boy, that paid off. I just don't see it.
I mean, if I'm Houston, I'm doing that deal again.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Browns acquire Amari Cooper from the Cowboys. So they got Amari Cooper in a 6th-round pick, and the Cowboys ended up getting a 5th and a 6th. So that's, yeah, I don't think there's any harm, any foul there, right? That's not bad. So, and notice that acquired a contract, 3 years, $60 million remaining. That's interesting. Cooper played out 2.5 years on the contract in Cleveland before the Browns shipped him to Buffalo to finish out the 2024, retaining almost all of the remaining salary. So, yeah.
And he's on the market now, correct?
He is. That is correct. The Dolphins acquired Tyreek Hill from the Chiefs. The Dolphins get Hill. The Chiefs got a 1st, a 2nd, 2 4ths, and a 6th. Yeah. I don't know.
I feel like Kansas City did just fine after that deal.
Yeah, they allowed them to completely rebuild their squad. I mean,
and win another championship, right? Remember, that was the talk. They won't be able to win a Super Bowl without Tyreek Hill, and they went right out and won the Super Bowl.
And they introduced the world to Isaiah Pacheco, and
the Stomper.
Yep.
That dude looks so pissed off when he runs. I love watching him run a football, man. He does. Let's see here. Jake Shavink said the Bills competed for Super Bowls with Diggs. Did they make it to the Super Bowl? They didn't, did they? Am I missing something here? They did. The Bills never made it to the Super Bowl, right? So they made it to
never will as long as Pat Mahomes is still in the league, apparently, right?
They made it to the AFC champion, which, by the way, the other day I seen a meme. You guys know, like when I was growing up, it was more common. You would see kids in poor countries wearing like Super Bowl champion shirts. You know what I'm talking about? Like they print
the wrong team,
print a bunch of them when the team loses. And it's a good thing to do, right? You give it to somebody that needs clothes and whatever. And it was that meme of that woman thinking, and there's numbers and symbols and stuff flashing around. It said kids in third world countries trying to figure out how the Chiefs were the only team to win 3 Super Bowls in a row after the Bills already did it. Let's go. That's so good. Let's go, man. Let's go. So, yeah, and here's the thing. Tyreek Hill, one of, if not the best receivers in the league, right? But the point that I'm trying to prove here is the old rule of wide receiver is the last piece you put in place. What you're seeing are a bunch of teams that are just, we got to have a receiver. We got to have a receiver. We got to have a receiver. And it never got them over the hump. Never, and a lot of them overpaid out the wazoo. I bet if you went to the Dolphins and said, hey, if you had that one back, would you go get Tyreek Hill knowing what you know now? It could be yes, but if I'm the GM and I'm looking up and going, boy, could we have built better in the trenches? And could we have won, could we have gotten deeper in the playoffs? Hell, just use that as the criteria, right?
Could we have given up 1 or 2 less picks to get them?
Right. They paid out the wazoo.
Yeah. Oh, and didn't Tyreek say that he wants to get traded again at the end of the season? So, I mean, it's not like they've even had.
And then he
wants out of Miami, right? Isn't that?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And then Tyreek populated 12% of Florida. That's so spot on. Jaguars acquiring Calvin Ridley from the Falcons. All right. Ridley, the Jaguars got Ridley. The Falcons got a 3rd and a 5th round pick. They acquired that 1 year for $11 million.
So who was the third and 5th round pick that the Falcons got?
Yeah, I'd like to know that too.
That's how you really want to, if you want to dig, right? We can kind of see, but I don't remember the Jags doing much, with or without Calvin Ridley.
Right. And this one right here has been a little close to home. The Bears acquiring DJ Moore from the Panthers. Listen, I think DJ Moore is a good receiver. I could be wrong. I'm probably in the minority there. But I remember Michael Lombardi. I wish Emilio was on here so I know he could confirm this. Michael Lombardi ranted on this so hard. He was like, why in the hell are you trading picks to get a receiver when you aren't even close to sniffing the Super Bowl? Like, why are you giving up all this draft capital to go get a wide receiver type thing, right? So of course, the way that trade worked out, the Bears ended up getting DJ Moore, 2 firsts, 2 seconds.
That's crazy.
And Carolina ended up they get the number 1 overall pick, and that was to draft the quarterback. What's his name now? I can't even think of his name now. Quarterback in Carolina. I'm pretty sure that's what they used that pick on, if I remember right. From Bama. I can see his face. I can't think of his name. Anyway, that one there is a very odd one, right? And it doesn't really apply to the conversation we're having here. The fact that the Bears got that much draft capital and they're not better already is just wild. Like, how bad are you at drafting?
That is crazy.
You got 2 firsts and 2 seconds and a wide receiver. Like, you look at that trade and go, I would make that trade again if I was the Bears. I definitely would.
Well, yeah, and then everybody forgets.
Bryce Young, there you go. Thank you.
Bryce Young was the guy that they got for all that load. I mean,
and I'm eager to see, what did Bryce Young do last year? Because I've been defending him quite a bit. Because I looked at that Carolina Panthers team and the play call and everything that year. I was going, man, I wouldn't judge Bryce Young off what's going on there his rookie year just based off of how bad that team was coaching-wise. Yeah, last year he rebounded, Jacob. This might surprise you, man. I was thinking something like this happened. His rookie year was 56.4. They changed the coaching staff up. Last year he jumped to a 74.4. So
that's encouraging.
Finished the year, the last 3 games of the season was a 91.7, an 80.3, and an 89.3.
Wow. All right.
So, and I remember watching the tape on him and comparing and contrasting those quarterbacks. He was my favorite quarterback that year, if I remember correctly. He was definitely in the top 2. I remember thinking he's got the release. He's got the quick release. He's got the accuracy. He's also got the smarts. He's hearing Nick Saban rave over him. Obviously, it was his quarterback. He's going to speak highly of him. And Michael Lombardi talking about it. Bill Belichick on their podcast was talking about how he was just a very, very high IQ kid at the quarterback position. So any of those you want to revisit real quick? And I think it is important. Did we learn anything? How does this apply to DK? Because it says with news out of Seattle that DK has formally requested the trade this offseason. We take a look at previously processed trades from the last 10 years that involved a notable wide receiver aged 27 to 28, including acquired contract details and the future outlooks for each.
It's like you said before, somebody's going to overpay. Someone's going to auction the future of their franchise off to get DK. Yeah. I hope it's not us. I really do.
Yeah, and again, I keep wanting to come back to the whole for the right price. Well, that's not the reality here. He's asking for $30 million a year, and they're wanting a first and a third. We're not there, yet. So I don't know. All right, Jake G126. Yeah, we learned don't trade, draft the wide receiver, which takes us back to the original comment. Sir Jaden Higgins, right?
Here's a guy.
That is a guy right there. All right. Anything else you guys want to add on? Hopefully, we're just about done talking about DK.
Can I talk about someone else?
Yeah, absolutely. Who you got?
Evan Ingram's on the market. Veteran tight end. We talked about the Luke Musgrave kind of uncertainty. We talked about possibly mid to late round draft, bringing in a tight end to kind of share that workload with Tuck Norris out there. Allow Tucker Kraft to be more of more of that vertical threat we know he can be. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are. Do you think I don't know what the market is for a guy like Evan Engram, but you're talking about a 1 or 2 year type of deal here. I'm thinking maybe that's a guy you take a shot at. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Evan Engram, looking at the PFF grades here, let's start there. Throughout his career, 62, 76, 64, 60, 53. And then once he got to Jacksonville, 67, 71, 72. So he's gotten better every year. He would grade out definitely as our second best tight end on our roster for sure. Jacob, what's your take on him? I'm going to try to pull up his market value real quick.
I really do like Evan Engram. He's really, really good player, especially on that tight end. Not quite sure how he grades out in the blocking aspects, but as far as being a receiving tight end, I don't think there's many more that do it better right now in the NFL. Again, it's going to come down to money for me. So, like, if he's a 8, I'd be willing to give him maybe like 7 or 8, something like that. But I don't know if that's the type of contract that he would play for at this point in his career. But that dude is end zone threat, red zone threat. If you could, like you said, if you walk into there and you're in a 12 formation or something and you have to figure out, what am I going to do? Am I going to cover any of the guys on the outside? Am I going to cover Jacobs, or do I have to worry about 2 amazing tight ends that can both be receiving threats that are very, very capable of completely turning the field. So I don't know. I'd be cool. Again, it comes down to money.
There's no market value for him. He's 30 and a half years old. All right. His previous average annual value was 13.7 million. So seeing we don't have a market value, Tim, I think we got to ask ourselves, okay, based off just go off the grades alone, right? Do we feel like he's worth what he's gotten to this point? Or do you think, okay, his value has dropped now that he's cracked the age of 30? You know what I'm saying?
He's coming off injury too. We should share that as well, right? I mean, he had an injury last year, correct?
Yes,
I believe that's true.
So that's the only reason I bring him up is like, veteran guy coming off the injury, kind of steady Eddie, as you would say, Jacob. Like maybe because of all those factors, we get him for a good deal, and we can bring him in here on a, 3-year deal that's really 2 years or something, or a 2-year that's really 1. I don't know. Just spitballing,
Yeah, and if we were to look at the contract, right? Again, his previous average annual value is 13.7 million. Tyler Conklin is right below him at 6.7 million, and he's 29.6 years old. So they're less than a year apart. So let's look at his market value since we got his. His is at $9 million. So if we're saying Evan Engram is worth $9 million, I don't like the idea of paying any backup starter money. And
Yeah.
to me, that's kind of starter money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of spitting in Tucker's face, to be honest, too.
That's the thing too. Is like,
right? Because he would be next, right? We got to figure out his contract before you know it,
Right.
and that's the priority. So I agree. That's why I brought this up. I just wanted to hear you guys.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Because that hadn't even crossed my mind. Again, these are all the players that were cut. Ari Mirov put a tweet out at My Sports Update. The Jaguars in a single day traded Christian Kirk to Houston. Will release tight end Evan Engram, kick returner, punt return Devin Duvernay, wide receiver Josh Reynolds, and cornerback Ronald Darby. And also saw starting center Mitch Morse retire. So, boy, they gonna be having tryouts down there, boys. They're gonna be just opening up the stadium. Going there, anybody who can throw a football, come in here. Well, we're gonna test you out.
Can I share a little report that just dropped about 11 minutes ago?
Oh, we got breaking news, Jacob.
Yeah, it's not.
We gotta have a sound drop for breaking news. Tim, hit us with any kind of sound drop. We gotta have. Oh, just warming it up for the draft. Go ahead, Jacob. You have the floor, sir.
Pretty good. The report is that it's possible that Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf plays out the final year of his deal in Seattle if they cannot find a trade that satisfies all parties involved, per Mike Duger. They want a resolution before the draft.
So this is on Twitter, is that right?
Yeah, it's on the old Twitters.
Whose Twitter account was it? I'll put it on the screen for you.
GPA football, but source to Mike Duggar. MikeDugar.
Okay, GPA football. I'll see if I can find that account. Or is it JPA football? Is that what it is?
JPA.
Okay, my bad. I'm missearching my fault. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna get on the screen so everybody can see. It makes it a little bit easier when you got the visualization there, right? So let's throw it up here and read it verbatim. All right, so JPA football tweeted out per Mike Duggar. It's possible that Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf plays out the final year of his deal in Seattle if he cannot find a trade that satisfies all parties involved. They want a resolution before the draft. I'm trying to think of who Mike Duggar is. It sounds familiar. I'm sure that's a credible source. Yeah,
sure did.
Yeah, 45,000 followers, so that's probably legit there. Yeah, so what did Drew say? I'm sorry, Jake. What did you have?
No, he just said Mike Duggar is respectable, if I remember correctly. So
yeah, I agree based off of following he has there. So yeah, this is kind of what we were just talking about, right? Like there's still a chance he returns, and there's going to be so many fans. I can't believe Goody wouldn't give up a third round.
No, it's all smoke screens, man. It's poker. Everybody's seeing what the other person's willing to do. They're watching their reactions.
Secrets.
Exactly.
That's right. All right, so there you go. Appreciate you dropping that in here live on the show, Jacob. That's awesome. All right, let's go back to Twitter. There's a couple other things I wanted to hit on real quick. What we have, 59-minute mark. Y'all ain't no hurry, are you? Doesn't matter if you are. I've got you.
I was gonna share this.
Let's go, Bobby Swagner.
Hey, but Tim, he's too old. He's 34, 35 or something.
No, that doesn't apply to Bobby Wagner. That doesn't apply. That's like age doesn't apply to guys like that. It didn't apply to Ray Lewis.
Cal Ripken.
Yeah,
put that name in my mouth right there.
The Commanders are re-signing linebacker and future Hall of Famer Bobby Wagner to a 1-year contract worth $9.5 million per year.
$9.5.
At age 34, Wagner played 99% of the snaps.
Here's the guy.
So, Bobby Wagner gonna keep doing it, boys. I'd like to see him get another ring, man. He's a class act. I like that dude a lot. I kind of wish Green Bay had went and gotten him, but if they had gotten him though, Tim, they might not have drafted Edgerrin Cooper either.
Right.
Exactly.
I think we may have, boys. It's early, and the wheels could fall off. I'm totally aware of that. But based off what we've seen last year, there's a decent chance we've got a Hall of Famer in Edgerrin Cooper. There's, to this point, which is the very, 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 very tiniest sample size, he's checked the boxes. That's exciting, man. That's really
and
exciting.
as bad as I'm with you and wanted to see Bobby Wagner in green and gold, that would have been a progress stopper for our guys in the middle. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
And so it's just good to see him still playing. And I'm glad we got Coop. Future looks bright with Tyron Hopper and Edge Coop. We re-signed Zay McDuffie, add some depth there, help us in the run fits, and let these young guys develop there. And so it would have been cool though. Don't get me wrong, because I think you'd be right, Clay. He'd probably we'd be announcing this with the Packers right now, right? Probably an extension or a 1-year deal. So yeah, man, I'm happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, definitely. I think we covered everything, gents. I think we're good. Again, that poll question, Green Bay Packers fans, would you be willing to pay $25 million per year for DK Metcalf if he were a free agent? So forget the trade compensation. It was almost 50-50, 54 to 45%. I think if I'd have thrown in, I had it topped out to put a 3rd-round pick in there as well. But I was like, you know what? I want to know, what do they see as true value at? That's the reason I asked the question the way we did, just strictly free agency. So, yeah. All right. Jacob, what else you got, man? I know you got some other stuff wrote down over there, man. You got anything else you want to hit?
No, I mean, not really. It's just more of a Drew D was commenting about how Packer fans know what bad linebacker play looks like, and it's not Edgerrin Cooper. That's true. I mean, we had our AJ Hawk years, and heck, even like Desmond Bishop, Nick Barnett, but there was really we never. I don't remember the last time we've had a Nitschke since Nitschke. You know what I mean? Where it was like, you don't come over the middle, you don't run his way, you don't look at him weird, you don't wink at him, you don't talk about his mom, you don't talk about his sister. Like I want a brutal, just absolute monster back there, and I really do think that Cooper is on.
So you weren't happy with Blake Martinez?
I like his Pokemon cards, but I never got him in the mail. It was weird.
I wonder why.
This is weird, dude. Do you remember that when he retired? They're like, I saw like 5 stories where they're like, Blake Martinez shifts his career and he's a multimillionaire doing what he loves. And then like 2 minutes later, it was like, he's in jail.
How dare you?
That's exactly what happened, man. Jacob over there emailing him, texting him, hey, man, I haven't got my cards. Why ain't I got my cards?
Huh? That ain't no problem.
Well,
you know what I hit him with? I said, hey, girl, you a Pokemon? Because I want a Pikachu.
That's terrible.
No? Don't give me that, Charles. Come on, chat. That's a good line.
Have y'all ever seen the video on YouTube? I think I showed you guys this the other night. I showed somebody this the other night, where there's this guy who's naming all of the Pokemon. I don't know anything about Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
But he's naming them off, but he's saying the wrong names.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
We need a sound drop. We need to. Oh, that's Pikachu. Everybody knows Pikachu.
Yes.
We need that sound drop.
He was just like making stuff up on the fly.
There were some of them were the big.
Everybody knows that's Big B.
Here's the guy.
All right, we're done. Anything else? This was fun, man. I'm glad we got a chance to do this. Everybody calling for a mock in here. Sorry, Chuck. We can't. I don't have the energy tonight.
Could be a crackhead.
We will do it soon. I promise, man.
Yes,
that's it.
That
Jake.
was it, Jake. Onion turtle.
Yeah.
God, it's so good, man. It is so good. Jason Weiss said 3-round mock. Do it. Y'all want to do a rapid fire 3-round mock?
Get ready to go.
All right. I'm talking like, let's actually put us on the clock, like a 30-second or a minute in between rounds. Let's
I'm not
do
starting the
that.
clock, Jacob. If you're here, you're here, my friend. That's the way it works.
That ain't no
You're here.
problem. That ain't no problem.
Well,
All right. We're going to do PFF. Is that all right?
Let's do it.
All right. Y'all talked us into it. Look at you guys. Imagine
Peer
that.
pressure. Actually, wait. If we get 3 super chats, and
No,
the next
let's not. Y'all are unbelievable. All right. Let's go mock draft simulator.
no chance.
Jake
This is going
Shabane,
25
no
minutes.
chance. Only 25 minutes.
Son of a.
We're going 3 rounds. I'm going to go with our beloved Green Bay Packers. All right. Let's hit this. We're ready, right? We got everything. We're going fast.
do
Turbo
it.
speed. Just a turbo mock. Here we go.
Heard it from a
Starting
fan
up
right
now.
here.
All right. 23. Pick 23. Here are the best available according to PFF. Safety Malachi Starks. Edge defender James Pierce Jr. and wide receiver Luther Burden III. Boys, what positions do you want to see?
I just keep going, scrolling down the best available here. The hell with the
Okay,
position.
you just want to do
groups.
that? All right.
Chuck
Getting
says,
that
If we're rapid firing, right?
Yep, let's just go. Yeah, let's do it. Kelvin Banks Jr., Derek Harmon, Darius Alexander, Walter Nolan, Omarion Hampton, Holston Loveland, Gray Zabel, Nick Scourton. I'm flying blind, too. I don't have
You guys know how much I love Darius Alexander, but I don't want to get roasted for taking him at 23.
trade
But-
back.
Jacob, sir.
We got no trades available. My bad.
James Pierce Jr. would be best available on my board. There's no doubt about
Yeah,
it.
I was going to say James Pierce Jr. That's what I would do.
Did Kenneth Grant go? Just taking a peek here. Did Kenneth Grant go? He did not, so he's on there somewhere.
Yeah,
No,
he
there
is.
he is. Yeah, he went to
20.
pick 20. This is interesting. Yeah, if this fell this way, I would go James Pierce Jr. How do you guys feel about it? You want to see a certain
I agree.
I agree. Other than that, or like I said, Derek Harmon or
Harmon.
Alexander. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Trying
none
to-
of them are as high on our board as Pierce is.
Yeah, we got Pierce in the 10 spot, and Derek Harmon is 25th. So, and now I've got all these windows open. I don't know which one was.
Yeah. So Pierce would be the better value here then, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's go Pierce. All right, we're going to go edge defender out of Tennessee, James Pierce Jr. We're not buying all the lie.
Oof.
Right.
I
So-
hate to just pick the guy that's top of the board there. But
Oh, yeah. Run the card. I'm with
I
you.
love
Let's
Trey
do it.
Amos, man.
Trey Amos.
Top 3 available: Trey Amos, cornerback out of Mississippi; defensive lineman Shamar Turner out of Texas A&M; and Alfred Collins, defensive lineman out of Texas.
I say Amos or Collins.
Yeah,
Yeah. Chat
see what we
seems to
got.
like Amos.
Amos. Let's see where we got Amos, because I'm pretty sure he's right in that ballpark. We got Trey Amos in the 45 spot on our board. Alfred Collins is higher on our board, and that is a 3-tech. But I'm with you guys. Everybody's calling it. We're going Trey Amos. All right, Trey Amos is the pick. All
Jordan
right.
Phillips, run the card. We need a D lineman.
Tim's ready. Tim's like,
Let's go.
ready. I got to get out of here. So we got Jordan Phillips, defensive lineman out of Maryland.
I go Marcus Bowe
Marcus Bowe,
Oh,
or Wyatt. I love
okay.
Wyatt.
Yep.
Wyatt Malum, Tate Ratledge.
Can you just look at Wyatt's grades? And I don't understand how this guy's not getting more credit. Wyatt Malum.
Yeah,
don't-
Malum. PFF really liked Malum. Let me see where he's at on our board, because I want to say he's a little
Okay,
bit lower.
that's 0 sacks and 1 hit allowed in 3 years starting, guys. That's insane.
Hey, we got Wyatt Malum. We've got him in the 55 spot on our board. The only thing that's bringing him down on our board, Jacob, is the 33rd team had him 85th. Other than that, everything else is if we were to just remove that ranking from the 33rd team, this dude would probably be up in the 30s on our
I
board.
was going to say, I mean, look at it. He's played at left tackle, got a ton of experience at right tackle as well.
I think
See
this
that?
guy right here. We good with it?
I'm taking Bo.
You taking Bo over him?
Yep.
All right, so Tim's saying Bo.
Tim.
Milltown represent.
You're just I was going to say he's
We've got him in the 62 spot. So it's not horrible, you know.
I mean,
Wyatt,
if we're going O-line, that's who I'm going for.
all right, chat.
I would go Wyatt Malum over Bo.
Thank
by
you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 6 spots only, Tim.
Yeah.
What's the chat say? It's going to be Bo or Malum. Who y'all taking? Jake said he's with Tim.
Freaking Jake's with Tim. I swear to God.
Jake just wants us to draft a player lower so we could tweet it out and get roasted on Twitter. That's what he wants.
Look, he says Bo to play center.
There
I
we
didn't know
go.
that was an option. Can we do that?
Yeah. He's never played center. Did Jake? Real quick in the chat while everybody gets their vote in. Did you see something when he was working out or something that, hey, because he was at the Senior Bowl. Did he play some center at the Senior Bowl? Is that why you're saying that? Or you
also, while Jake's hopefully responding to that, when I was listening to that same podcast, PFF, they got on the topic of center, and they said, who's your number one center, regardless of if they played before? They said Gray Zabel. They said, who's your number one center if you have to just pick the best pure center? They said Jared Wilson. They said, who's the best center if you want to wait a few rounds? They said Jonah Moynihan. So all three of those guys I've passed off my vote of confidence, and those are three people I would love Gray Zabel, to be honest, just because if we could get him, and if you can just plug him in at center and he can do it, and then maybe 2 years down the road we can plug him out to guard or tackle because he is talented. To me, that's worth a ton.
All right.
Yeah, I'm still taking the kid from Tulsa East. Let's go.
All right. So Jake said Bo, right? Tim said Bo. I said Malum. Jacob, who did you say?
I'd love Malum myself, but
Malum. Okay, so it's tied right now. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Shavink responded to your question. He said he played interior spots and mobile. I just think the quicks and athletic size profile fits well there.
Got it. So no experience at center, but he's kind of built for it, it feels like. Got it. Good stuff. Let's see what's everybody else saying here. I'm just trying to get a quick tally. Is Drew D saying Malum? Everybody say just the name.
Yeah, I see Malum. I see Jake saying Bo, and that's all I've really got. Yep. Come on, chat. Let's go. You're the ones that want us to do this. There you go.
Malum.
Drew D says Malum.
Drew D said Malum. All right, come on. Let's go, guys. Need a couple.
He's been called. Oh, Jake Shavik. That's how to steal my heart. He says he's been called the Zach Tab of the draft. A lot of people say that.
I didn't say that. People were saying it. Look, Chuck Jaggers, Bo, Emilio Bo.
Emilio, get out of here.
Yeah. Jake G.
Go.
Emilio! All right.
Looks like we just lost, Clayton. Crap.
Oh, it is. Hey, man. You know how it is, man. It's tough out in these streets.
Draft that Milwaukee kid, man. Let's go.
All right. We
Greg's
will.
Right.
We're taking Malum. We're taking Malum.
Did you just do that?
Are you for real?
Oh, we got a C+. Look at that.
You got hold to the wrong stuff.
We know Bo won. All right. We know Bo won. So just took a heel turn like John Cena in here. You know what I'm saying?
That's a big deal. A lot of people at the where I work have been like, "Did you see what happened with John Cena?" And I was like, "No." Why?
Oh, we got to have this United Bates. Put it in reverse. We need that drop, Tim. We need that drop.
Oh, Lord.
We got to have that. Look, Prince said that's rigged for sure. You know it is, baby. Look, Drew D, this is a dictatorship, not a democracy. Oh, man. Those words getting tossed around a lot nowadays, boy.
That's terrible.
J. Cole, Clayton watches.
People ask the questions. KGB waits for no one. It's
J.
true.
Cole, I don't watch wrestling, but let me tell you something, man.
It's pronounced wrestling.
Yeah, down here it was wrestling growing up. I don't know what it is. I've watched a video or two of the Attitude Era. Like that's when I was, in high school and stuff, like Stone Cold, The Rock, all that was just taking off. Man, those videos pop up on my feed and I can't get away from them. And then Raw's on tonight. I'll turn Raw on and I'll sit there for 2 minutes. I'm like, I'm just spoiled, man. We watched wrestling when it was just,
it was great.
It was
great.
And there's a lot of people, it sounds like it's picking up steam now, but, and I don't hate on anybody who watches wrestling, but yeah, I barely got time to keep up with football, to be honest with you. So,
dude.
Oh, look, Jason Y. Now, Jason Y, this is when I got my first taste of it, because I was born in 82. Okay. He said, no way 80s WWF was the best. I had a cousin who loves wrestling. Bro, late 80s, you're right, man. It was.
Oh, yeah.
Hit me with that crackhead drop, Tim. I'm going to need
You could be a crackhead. You got hold to the wrong stuff.
Listen to me.
You see Macho Man doing his interviews, and he'd just yeah.
Here's the guy.
Listen, if you are hearing my voice right now, do yourself a favor. If you have not watched at least 10 collective minutes of Macho Man doing interviews, go to YouTube tonight when you lay your sweet little head down on that pillow and fall asleep to Macho Man. Now you might wake up
half of them you can see the white powder underneath his nose, and you're like, oh, okay. All right. That's just what they did.
The mock draft will be back in a few minutes after this brief sponsorship from wrestling.
thought you were going to say from some.
I was going to say, I thought he from Colombia.
Yeah, exactly.
Get ready to
There it
go.
is. Prince knows it. The cream rise to the top. We used to have that as a drop, didn't we, Tim?
We did have that.
Yeah, we used to have the Bears still suck as a drop too, but I don't see it anymore. I'm a little
Freaking
disappointed.
Emilio.
Look, Drew D said,
How
Drew D
dare
said,
you?
Drew D said, Tim, draft a wrestler. That's it. You got one pick, guys. One pick, and we're out of here. One wrestler. All right.
One wrestler.
One?
One.
I had
Jacob.
to pick one.
Not two, not six, one.
Oh, boy.
I'm probably the last person on this pod that should be asked this question. I wasn't a big wrestler.
I got mine.
I'll go with the Hulkster.
Gold Dust. You guys remember Gold Dust?
Oh, my God.
That was just the creepiest guy that would walk out and he was like not athletic. He was fat, but he was very shiny with gold. He liked gold.
Jake G126. I mean, Triple H played for the Vikings for one season. No, that was Brock Lesnar, sir. But try again. Give me Andre the Giant. Look at the old hits.
Gold Dust.
Great deal.
Freak
I
Dust.
do remember Gold Dust freaking out Razor Ramon forever. Like he was just stalking him and everything.
He didn't want to touch him, man. That's
Bro, you run around in your underwear all oiled up with chest hair and that hair slicked back. Yeah, of course, somebody's going to come after that too.
Hey, the combine's over with already.
Jake G126 says, I mean, Triple H played for the Vikings. No, sir. It was Brock Lesnar played for the Vikings for preseason.
11 minutes.
And then got cut. Yeah.
He said, "This sucks. We can't do roids here. I'm going back to football.
Yeah.
I'm going back to wrestling."
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know what? Actually, not a bait. It's Goldberg. Bro, that spear. Oh.
Yeah, he was
was
probably. You talk about making the most money off the least amount of talent, though. That dude had no wrestling talent at all, and he was just. They just said, "Go out there. We're going to let you win every match." All right, cool. And just go out there and kick the crap out of this dude.
What do you mean? It's fake?
Huh?
You trying to say wrestling's fake?
Jacob, we'll have a conversation off the air real quick, sir. I need to tell you.
I don't think I can handle this. What about Santa Claus?
This show sucks so bad.
This show
And
sucks.
guys, I
Let's get out
apologize
of here.
about Wyatt Malone. We know the pick was Bo. Please forgive me. Okay. So, all right.
Edit
Anything
these.
else?
How about that?
That's the best Brian drop. Chris Sin said Doink the Clown was on that crank.
Could be a crackhead.
All right, we're out. Nothing else. Right, boys, we good?
Chuck
Got
just says,
hold
dude,
of
how
the
do
wrong stuff.
we have ADHD? How did we get here?
I don't know, Chuck. My wife asks me that every night. She's like, "How did we get here?" I'm like, "You're stuck now.
Man.
You ain't getting out of this."
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Jake G126 says, "Defend your pick, Clayton." I mean, he's higher on my board, bro. It's really simple. Unless you're talking about wrestling. My wrestling pick. Who was my wrestling pick? Back to wrestling. Why y'all want to talk football? What's wrong with you guys? Mine would have to be Stone Cold, man.
Yeah.
Stone Cold, man.
It's the bottom line.
Awesome. Because I said so. Look at Jason. Why we went from 110 viewers to 79. We probably lost 12 subs. So. That's all right though. The important people are still in here. Now, if you're asking seriously about my pick, though, the reason I've got Bo or Malum higher than Bo, it's everything across the board. The PFF grades pretty significant. Malum was the second highest graded at his position last year. Bo was 107th, so that's going to drop him down on our board a little bit. The PFF big board had Malum at 35th at the end of the season. Bo was 78th. Bo was 49th at the end of the season, according to the consensus big board. Malum was 42nd. So he's beaten him in every category so far. The only thing that Bo is higher than Malum on is the 33rd team. Kyle Krabs had him 64th, and Kyle Krabs had Malum 85th. Bo was 66th on Dane Brugler's board. Malum didn't even make his top 100 or his top 125, I think it extended to. And then, of course, Bo had way better combine. He got the 5-point bonus there with the RAS, and Malum only got the 1-point bonus. So what it feels like, Bo maybe a little bit higher upside. Malum, I think, a little more ready right now.
Bo is very athletic to the point where they're like, this guy can do stuff that most linemen can't. Wyatt Malum is just steady Eddie, kind of plug and play type dude. So that's why I wanted him.
He can block.
He can block.
If you're wondering how that draft fell into place, This is how it went. Cam Ward, number 1 to the Titans. Travis
Look at
Hunter.
Membu going 4th.
Yeah,
What?
you're right. Armand Membo. Yeah. Travis Hunter went 2nd to the Browns. Abdul Carter went number 3 to the Giants. Armand Membo went number 4 to the Patriots. Mason Graham, number 5 to the Jaguars. Todd Warren, 6 to the Raiders. They're taking another tight end, and they're trading away, what's his name? That
Raiders.
That doesn't check out, right? They got Brock Bowers. They got Michael Mayer the year before, and now they're looking to trade Michael Mayer. So that's somebody you want to talk about a trade potentially. I'm just saying. Ashton Gianti went number 7 to the Jets. Shamar Stewart, number 8 to the Panthers. Jahad Campbell went 9 to the Saints. That's wild. Mikael Williams went to the Bears at 10. Will Campbell, 11 to the Niners. Tetero McMillan went 12th to the Cowboys. Will Johnson went 13th to the Dolphins. Jahdae Barron went 14th to the Colts. Emin Ware, safety out of South Carolina, went 15 to the Falcons. Mike Green, edge defender, went 16th to the Cardinals. Donovan, say it for me, guys.
Ezeruku.
Sounds good. 17th to the Bengals. You had Jalen Walker go 18th to the Seahawks. We had Josh Simmons go 19th to the Buccaneers. Kenneth Grant went 20th to the Broncos. Emeka Egbuka went 21st to the Steelers. Matthew Golden went 22nd to the Chargers. So we had the two best receivers on the board went literally the 2 picks before us. So keep that in mind. Then we went with James Pierce Jr., edge defender out of Tennessee. Walter Nolan went number 24 to the Vikings. Hate that. Tyler Booker went 25 to the Texans. Kelvin Banks Jr. went 26 to the Rams. Omarion Hampton, running back out of North Carolina, went to the Baltimore Ravens at 27. Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan, went 28th to the Lions. Luther Burden III, wide receiver out of Missouri, went 29th to the Commanders. I about said it. Maxwell Harrison, cornerback out of Kentucky, again in the first round. He's now popping up everywhere in the first round of mocks. Fastest guy at the combine, went 30th to the Bills. Malachi Stark, safety out of Georgia, went 31st to the Chiefs. And then, of course, Nick Scourton went 32nd to the
And Jaden Higgins is still on the board, ripe for the picking at 54. Let's go.
You heard it from a fan right here.
Mimbo, as you guys were pointing out, we're really high on him, guys. We got him 9th on our board. And he's got a wrestling background, too.
Emilio can't, muster up the effort to get here on time, but he can sure comment like a psalm, Just saying.
That's just the way it is, man. Greg Rice, I feel like Clay is reading me a bedtime story. I actually had a caller message me one time, text me on the text line, and said, "Hey man, love the show. Keep up the great work. Man, I put it on the car and my daughter falls asleep. I guess the country playing, and I was like,
I'm in a dumpster.
Man, that ain't what you want to hear as a podcaster. Man, when I want to get some rest, I just put your podcast on. You put me right to sleep. It's that boring. So anyway,
ASMR football talk right here.
I think people just like to hear my voice and go, man, it's nice to be way more educated than that guy. That's really cool. Really cool. So, all right, we're out, guys. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. Jacob, Tim, thank y'all for joining in. Emilio, thank you for calling in, Slick. Appreciate you, buddy. You try, yeah, look at this. See, yes, you try and comment while pulling a trailer, Jacob.
I got so many jokes and none of them are appropriate.
Yeah.
I love you, Emilio.
Yeah, Emilio, you keep lying in the chat. I'm gonna send Tom Holman out there.
I was gonna say I'm gonna send an email. I'm gonna get Tom to let you out just so you can do a show lately. It'll be great.
You think God never farted?
Probably did. Last one here. Daryl's got a special request. Let's put that Duval and let's get out of here.
Oh, don't.
Duval.
Creepy, right?
Ugh.
Talk to y'all soon.
Let me go.
Bye, guys.